video is about how much do doctors earn, more specifically how much do GPs earn. This has been a much requested video, so without further ado, let's get started. Say a couple of things before we get started. I promise we will get started very soon. You must make sure you watch my video about opportunities in general practice. I talk about the different types of general practitioners, which is important as a foundation for this video. And also make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget to turn the bell on so you know when my next video is going to be released. So I'm going to start with a salaried GP. The BMA has a model contract for doctors, and they have an annual salary set out by the Doctors Dentist Review Body, or DDRB, and this is a minimum salary. So if we look at a full-time salaried GP working approximately 37.5 hours a week, then it's roughly 58,800 to 88,700. And if you live in London, you'll get London waiting, which is a sum of money, extra money, to account for the fact that living in London is quite expensive. Just a few things to note. Number one, there is no upper limit. So really it's up to employers how much they want to pay their salaried doctors, and therefore they're able to award a higher salary. Usually what you might see if you've seen job adverts already is pay is usually per session. And the range for this is usually about £9,000 to £10,500. So if you want to work out the annual salary, you have a figure, whether that's £9,500 per session, and you multiply that by the amount of sessions per week, it'll give you the overall salary per year. You should negotiate your salary, and this will depend on a number of factors. Now, if you're part-time, it will be pro rata. Usually there will be an incremental pay rise. So this could be in the form of a percentage increase or a set amount. And this is again discussed between the GP and the employer. So a really good thing here is that you may receive bonus payments, and that depends on you maybe achieving set targets, so QOF targets for instance. Now the BMA have a really good handbook for salaried GPs and also locum GPs, and I'm just showing you a screenshot to information about how you can negotiate your salary and how you can weigh up different offers, and the BMA stress that you should not undersell yourself. So that's salary GP in a nutshell. I probably should have said at the beginning of the video that it's very variable, and that goes for salaried and locum GPs and even partners. So if you don't know already, in general practice, the salary is very variable. And in my previous video, opportunities in general practice, depending on what you do, you can earn a significant amount of money. So it's really about how much you put into it. Many locums work in different ways. You can be a sole trader and be self-employed. You could set up a limited company. You could work through an agency. You can work through something called chambers, which is a group arrangement. So for instance, if you're self-employed, what you do is you go to the practice, you negotiate what you're going to do. So for instance, you could say, well, I'm not going to do any home visits, I'm not going to do baby checks, I'll see a certain group of patients. If you are upskilled in a particular area, then you can maybe charge extra for that. And it's just all about negotiation. Decide with the practice what you're going to do, how many patients you're going to see. Usually the practice will have an idea of what they want the locum to do, and then it's up to you to negotiate or just to accept it if you're happy with that. You do your session, that could be 3 to 4 hours. Some practices ask the locum to do admin in addition to their session, and some locums will just do the admin generated from their session. And again, it's just about negotiating what you're willing to do and what you want to do for whatever price. So if you're self-employed, you do your session and then you invoice the practice afterwards. If you work for an agency, the agency will contact you with a particular job, see if you're suited to that. They might call you, email you, and then you go along to the practice, you do your session, you give a timesheet in, so you get the practice to sign the timesheet, and then you send that along to the agency, and the agency will pay you. The practice pays the agency, and the agency gets a commission. That's pretty much how it works. Now, one thing to note is that as a locum, even if you work for an agency, you could still be self-employed and you could be a contractor. So it's really important just to read the terms and conditions when you sign up with an agency so you know exactly what you're operating as. So many GPs work as a salaried doctor and locum as well. So you could do 6 sessions as a salaried doctor and then maybe 1 or 2 sessions as a locum doctor. As a locum, you can also work privately. You can also do out of hours work. You don't just have to be working at a GP surgery. So locums will usually charge somewhere between £75 to £100 per hour. This also depends on the area. Some practices will also factor in your NHS pension. So that's something else to negotiate as well. I'm just going to show you some job adverts so you can see the range. So how much do GP partners earn? The short answer is it varies again. So the average wage for a full-time GP partner ranges between £100,000 to £120,000, and that is based on area. I just want to point out here that from next year, or potentially from next year, GPs earning more than 150k per year will have to declare that. This is not only for GP partners, but this is also for locums and salaried doctors and those who are contracted or subcontracted to provide NHS services or primary care services. So there are a number of factors that determine how much you're going to earn as a GP partner. So you essentially get the profits, also known as drawings. So this is calculated by taking away the practice expenses from the total practice income. So this could work in 2 main ways. Either you get a set amount per month, or whatever is left at the end of the month, you'll get a share. However, with this method, the amount you get may vary quite a lot each month. So if you're a new partner, there's a few things you have to be aware of. Number 1 is working capital. So the new partner has to pay in a certain amount of money. So this could either be paid in cash, or it could be built up over time by restricting the amount of money you get from the drawings. This amount of money is like a loan to the practice. Now it's really important that, especially if you're a new partner, but even for partners in general, that you compare the amount that you'd be getting to what a salaried doctor could earn. A partner could potentially earn less than a salaried GP. So as a new partner, you could be earning less than the other partners for quite some time, and you might think that this is fair depending on your experience. But if you've been a partner somewhere else before, you may feel this may not be fair. So it just depends really on each practice and what each practice has done before and what they want to do going forward. So you could be on a trial period for some time and then gradually increase the amount you earn as time goes on, and this is called parity. As a partner, you are self-employed, so you are responsible for paying your own tax and paying your own pension. So if we look at pension, you have to pay your own pension as the employer and also your employee's pension. So this could be about 30% of your income. So again, if we talk about tax and taxation, this might vary depending on how much you earn throughout the year. And if you're a partner, you have to pay different types of tax. If you are self-employed, you pay national insurance contributions as well as income tax. So you'll have class 2 national insurance contributions, which is a flat rate for those who are self-employed. And then you may also have to pay class 4, and this again depends on how much profit you've made that year. So there are a few other things to consider as a GP partner, and this may again affect how much you earn. Some practices will own the property and have a loan to pay, and then some will rent the property. Not all partners may own the property. Now you also want to think about quality or how valuable the property is. Are there any expensive repairs that might crop up in the near future and that you need to be thinking about? Other things to think about would be how proactive is the partnership in making this business successful, making it viable. Think about the earnings of the practice when you join and for the previous couple of years. Are the earnings sustainable? Also think about the local area and the services that are required. Think about the price per patient. So you really want to be at a practice that has some of the following features. Number 1, a stable partnership with partners who are really invested in the practice and really invested in growing this business as best and as much as possible. You ideally want a very high ratio of salaried doctors to partners, and also a practice that offers a decent number of non-NHS services and also low administrative costs. So for instance, they could be doing medicals, and then they could be doing a lot of the administration themselves rather than having to hire or pay employees to do this for them. Again, you have to think about how sustainable that is. And also practices where you have a good variety of skill sets. You have an MDT, so you have nurses, you could even have pharmacists. So that helps share out the load. So that is a snapshot of how much GPs could potentially earn. It is what you make it, and there are a lot of opportunities in general practice. Of course, it's not all about the money, so just consider that. If you earn a lot of money, it's about how much you put into it. You may have to work long hours. Check out my video if you haven't already about opportunities in general practice, because that also gives a really, really good overview of what you can do as a GP. And also check out some of my other videos, such as the pros and cons to general practice and why I chose a career in general practice. Always interested to hear your comments in the comment section below, so drop me a comment. I'm again interested to hear about what topics you want me to talk about. Drop me a comment and I will respond to you, and I'll be sure to put a video out on that topic. So let me know. I'm always interested to hear from you, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already.